feel that, you know, you see these lines, these people right now who are waiting in the humidity and maybe some of the sun who are waiting to come and see and be part of your world?
Well, excuse me while I color Cobra Kai in here, but let me answer that question. You know what's amazing isn't just seeing their faces, but when you stop and talk to them, they're from all over the world. Yeah. Their accents, I'm like, wow, you know, so it's incredible to see the reach. Hey, will you be careful with that, son? I told you about bringing this thing around.
I'm putting it down.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, you know. I mean, it's incredible to reach out and get to see who the show's affecting and who you're affecting and what you're a part of. And, you know, with this show, it's really, it's a relationship with the fans. So that's my answer. Excuse me while I finish my Cobra Kai logo here. Ralph, do you have anything to add to that?
No, absolutely
Or are you just
nothing.
going to color all day?
I'm gonna color. No, what was the question? I was so excited.
The question was, what do you think of, how do you feel when you come and see all these fans screaming, Ralph, Ralph, and they're pulling up your old posters and crying and the girls and stuff like that?
It's,
right?
you know, yeah, very good. That was good. That was good. You know, it only gets sweeter as more time goes by. It really is amazing that that this much time has gone by and this film resonates. And now with Cobra Kai more than ever, bringing a whole new audience in. We often talk about how the audience gets backed into the movie. Some of the young generation that hasn't seen the movie is backed into it through watching Cobra Kai, and then they're watching the movie with their parents, as fathers and sons. It's just in the world, it's not always a rosy place. It's nice to be able to put a smile on people's faces or make them feel that comfort food of yesterday in a good way. So we are blessed to have that.
Shola, do you have blue? Do you have an aqua blue? Thanks.
I have aqua blue.
Are you using Miyagi dough colors?
Dark.
That's Billy's color now, blue.
Thank you very much. Sorry.
Throughout the decades, they've tried to reboot the Karate Kid franchise several times. What is it about this one that made you think, all right, that's the one that I'm going to do. I'm going to come back for that one? What specifically made it stand out?
This is the passion of the writers, John, Josh, and Hayden. They were the biggest fanboys of the original movie, and the angle, you know, the very smart angle of addressing this story and these events of 1984 from a different prison perspective of Johnny Lawrence's life, whatever happened to this guy. And that just seemed a fresh angle as opposed to doing, you know, Karate Kid 6 or without Mr. Miyagi. They just didn't, that was the angle in. It made sense.
And the timing of streaming platforms, we didn't have that before. You know, this couldn't exist anywhere else. And you know, so instead of doing a film, my question was, why don't we just make a movie? They're like, no, it's long form and go deeper in the characters and longer. And so all the above, you know.
That was one of the things I really wanted to bring up too, is the fact that, you know, if you go back to the actor you were then doing this role, which encapsulated what it needed to, encapsulated the story, but now to be able to say, don't worry, you'll get this character will get a chance. They'll get the long form. They'll get to expand, and you'll get to kind of really get into you know, their history of who they are. You know.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. My first question and my one hesitation was, are you setting this up for him to take the ultimate crane kick at the end and prove that he's the biggest douchebag of all time? And I'm doubling down on that 35 years later, because if that's what this is going, I don't want anything to do with it.
Right.
No,
But they told me yes.
that's what they're like. So Johnny Lawrence goes down again, and here's how it's going to happen. You know, so you know, they assured me that, you know, that he was going to be rough around the edges, but they're, you know, so I was like, okay. But yeah, you know, they're right. They had an angle in on the character that I never really saw coming. And, so
now,
that's cool.
What was one of the things, you know, as being part of the dojo in the world too, that you guys would kind of take from, you know, this lesson? Not just, you know, work as great actors, but also my character believes in this, like believes in, you know, whether it's justice or hard work or just, you know, putting the time to get the results that really come from something like that.
Yeah, I think one thing that I take from Miguel is his sense of loyalty and allegiance to Johnny Lawrence. I think it's really admirable how far he'll go for this person that means so much to him. I mean, we start season 1 with him not really having anyone but his mom and his grandma, and really no sense of direction, no sense of this fatherly figure that he's yearning for. So having Johnny Lawrence in his life, I think, means so much to him. So that's something that's pretty awesome about Miguel. It's just how much he cares for the people around.
One thing, the show's on YouTube, is the biggest show on YouTube. And one thing that's very different from traditional TV is that the comments are right there on every episode. Do you go through them, or do you just avoid them like the plague?
Avoid them.
I've done both.
You have to avoid
I
them.
go through them, and then I go through a phase of avoiding them, and then I'm like, but there were some nice ones in there. I'll go back.
I
It's
went
like
through-
maybe there's something interesting.
At the beginning, I did it for a second just to see if people like it, because no matter what it's like, okay, it feels like it's going well, and then you got to step out of that. But but I think it's only for the first episode. It's not, you can't see what they're saying in every episode.
As we move forward to new seasons, like what can we expect as we move forward right now? Like, what is it? Is it more about relationships? Is it more about self-understanding? Like, what can we expect as we move forward?
Well, it's versatility. I mean, these characters, all three of our characters, all six of us, everybody's going to go into different directions to cope with what's been just left in the end of season 2. So that's going to be really exciting to see what goes on for all of us. And it's so much fun as actors to play that, because it wasn't, in earlier situations, it was a little more black and white, and now it's out there.
There's a lot of cleaning up to do at the end of this. First of all, everything's broken. Everybody's guts is on the floor. It's a horrible accident, horrible, and so everybody's gonna dive deep and go wide. Pretty much, everybody's sort of got to go inside, and I know Ralph's got a great thing coming that you talk about, and we're going to find a little bit about the origins of where Cobra Kai came from.
Yeah, that's exciting stuff.
And Johnny Lawrence, I think, is looking for a new car. Maybe a new brand of beer. I'm not sure.
No, I can't do that.
How about a new branded lady too?
New branded lady? No, I don't know. He has a lot of
I ship them so hard.
affection for them. You what?
I ship you and Miguel's mom.
Yeah. You what?
Ship it.
She likes you guys together.
Like,
You ship it. I'm sorry. It's a generational thing. I didn't know that word.
You like one person with another. You
Yeah,
you
I
ship
ship
a
that too.
relationship.
I ship it too.
They're adorable.
Yeah.
No, they're great.
you for no reason?
Yeah, yeah. So I hope that continues.
I think he was kind of hinting at what is it?
Oh, well, like we mentioned, diving into the origins of Cobra Kai, where that began, and the genesis of Miyagi-Do, and learning, I think we will learn things about each that we never knew. And that, and in one storyline sends Daniel LaRusso to Okinawa in season 3. So that's sort of exciting. Whatever the direction is, we haven't read the scripts yet, but you can imagine what might be unearthed there, and stuff that Daniel may learn about Miyagi that he never knew, or we all never knew, that could be then brought forth back in the States. I'm hoping for that kind of stuff.
He sails there too. It's like he gets on a
On a
sailboat
little
and makes his
dinghy.
way to Okinawa.
On a little one of those
And
Moby
it's a
Dick
great.
boats.
What happens at the sea is just tragic.
Right.
Yeah, the
minnow
lighting, the
would be
minnow. Yeah.
lost.
It's like the Castaway.
The Castaway. Yeah, it's
There's
like
no
the
words.
storms alone, the nightmares he has. He has
Just
to
the lines the
process.
same Miyagi would want.
Yes.
This kind of thing, yeah.
He runs out of water. He's drinking salt water. He's throwing up in the boat. It's a great
awesome.
season 3. It's
I asked
amazing.
for higher stakes for this character.
Yeah, and they get such idiots.
Chikasa, in number, when you go to into Okinawa in the previous number 2, like going between the two, did you actually go and shoot there? Where did you
We
shoot
shot
them?
in Hawaii.
You shot in
And
Hawaii.
back
So
in
is this
85.
shooting in Hawaii too? Are you
I
going,
don't know.
Like, where's going
those
forward?
discussions are happening literally probably right now with production, trying to figure out budget-wise, because I don't know how much of the storyline is going to be there. I don't know if it's going to be a few scenes or a few episodes, so that information I don't have. But I do have the fact that that's going to...
I know where they're going. It's actually they're going to Bakersfield, California.
Right.
And they are building.
So what did you do wrong?
Here you meet Captain Jack Sparrow.
Okay, we got a couple of you right now. You guys gotta
Yes,
run.
sir. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I did my thing. There it is, right there.
Make sure to sign
I'm
that.
signing it right now. All right.
Your creation, you guys gotta go right now. So
No mercy.
we gotta keep a couple of you still. for
Thanks,
a little
guys.
bit
It's
more,
my
so-
time.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai is bailing on me.
Cobra Kai never dies, man.
Yes.
Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. Take
Pleasure.
over,
Have
guys.
a nice time.
We'll see you guys soon.
I hope you see Captain Jack Sparrow. Thank you, guys.
So one of the things that I love about the show is that it's very 360. There's no, you're rooting for everybody at the same time, but the characters are really real. So that's the thing that I love.
Right.
By the end of season 1, the final episode, I realized I don't know who I'm rooting for.
Right.
I don't know who I want to win. What's your favorite thing about the show? Anybody can pick that one up.
I think, I mean, that is a good point. I mean, that's the fact that it dives into the gray areas and your allegiance episode to episode, it changes who you're rooting for. So this is good and bad in all of us. I think that is one of the points that makes the show great. Since I have the kids here, or the younger cast, that has been something I did not expect that I would enjoy as much as I do. They don't bail on interviews. No, I'm joking.
I don't know if it's a compliment or an insult or.
No, they. I enjoy being. I can't believe I'm saying that. I enjoy being the old guy. I mean, I enjoy being the wise one.
Yeah.
Someone with a little bit of wisdom. They all show me such respect, and Billy and Marty as well. But I'm talking about me, and. It's a joy. It's one of my favorite things to do about the show is shed, maybe if I could shed a little bit of light to them in their careers and lives based on how I've tried to carry myself in 35 years, then I'm giving some part of a legacy that I have that is handed down. And they've shown nothing but respect for that and openness for that, and on top of that, they're amazing actors and really, carry that whole side of the show, without which we would not have the longevity that I think we're going to have.
Definitely. And one of the things I wanted to know too is like when you guys got into the franchise itself, and as you move forward, you guys are now part of a lore. Like when you start a couple movies, you have those movies, but they are finite, but these things are continually growing episode by episode.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is your guys' thoughts on how you get to, I guess, grow these characters? Like, what is your favorite part about your specific character right now?
I think just how real.
How sleepy he is.
Yeah, I think just how real he is. I mean, it's awesome to get to play someone who's basically the same age as I am. And I think a lot of times in this industry that isn't the case. So getting to play someone who goes through a wide range of emotions and has that vulnerability to him is the best.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point too, is the fact of everybody, you mentioned that, everybody has, you like them sometimes, you don't like them sometimes, but that's what's great is that Josh, John, and Hayden do is every season, especially for us, like you were saying, usually the teenagers, they're the angsty teenager and they're just angry and they stay that way the entire time. But the first season, every character has an arc. They start somewhere and they end somewhere. The next season, the character has an arc. We get to actually experience a life with these characters. We're creating a life, and you can see that because there's always an arc every season for every single character, and that's what makes it so nice.
I think for me, I really love about Samantha right now is like I am hoping I have the ability to do this, and that's what I'm attempting to do, is to fill in some gaps that I didn't have as a teenager. And I didn't have it those years in my life when I wish I had a character like Samantha to look up to who makes mistakes and is human and is not just, yes, the romance is a big part of her life. She is caught in this love triangle, but it's not all about her. It's not all of her. She wants to find where she belongs in the first season, and in the second season, she wants to find balance. She wants to find where, how to get her relationship back with her father and, how to reestablish who she wants to be, not just who she accidentally became. And like, those are things that I wish I had been able to see. Like, you don't just have to be caught up in high school drama, and though she does still fall into that, like, you can also be mature enough to realize that you fall into it and to try and figure your way out of it, and to look to something like karate and something like a relationship with her father and, and good friends or whatever to help her, like, find that way. I really think that, like, I would have looked up to Samantha a lot at that age, and that's really cool and important to me.
The show is very physical. It requires a lot of fighting. So is there any particular fight or particular point of the training that you enjoyed the most?
When it's done.
Oh, when it's done?
No, it's tougher for, it's tougher 35 years later than it was. back then, and we have less time to do this stuff. Our budget and our schedule is really tight on this show. It is amazing what we are achieving and what these guys have achieved in our stunt team is Emmy-nominated stunt coordinators. It's a lot of work. For me, it's more stretching and injury prevention. That's what it's about. Yeah. I didn't think of that when I was their age. I was just, warm up, 3 jumping jacks, let's shoot it. Yeah. Now I got to start 6 in the morning. By the time noon comes around, the hamstrings are tightening up again. So it's more work to take care. But it's always exciting to do those scenes. You just don't want someone to get hurt because that could always happen. But they should take. They do a lot more heavy lifting these days.
I think one of the most exciting parts too is like our stunt coordinators, Hito Koto and Janelle Kerfman, are so adamant on making sure that we're trained correctly and as best as possible, so we can do as many stunts as we possibly can. And I think that's what makes it different from a lot of different shows, is that we work so hard to do our own stunts because that just makes it so much more real. And I would say this season we did like 85-90% of our stunts. So we just worked really hard, and it makes it really fun, and knowing that we're actually, what you're watching is still us. It's not like they called cut and the stunt double jumped in and then we had to jump back in.
Anytime the stunt doubles were in, we were over on the sidelines like begging to go in. It was like with the times when they were like, guys, you cannot physically do this. But we were like, let us try. Let us just try once, okay? Just let us try once. Put me on the wire just one time. I can do it, I promise. And so it was yeah, I agree. That was super fun for me. It was like just the challenging. It was very challenging, but in like the best way. I think all of us like rose to the challenge as much as we possibly physically could. There was no whining or complaining from anyone. Every one of us was just begging to be more a part of it than we were even.
One thing I want to ask, having the character Daniel for 3 movies and playing him, is there anything that this, throughout the show, or maybe even going forward to the next season, that's something you are happy is part of him as a character now? Like something that was left off, that you go, you know what, that was it's a point I would like people to know about the character, because you own him, he is you. So is there something that you're happy that is part of the character of who he is and the way he is?
Well, I think that, and I still want to go further with some of this stuff in season 3 and hopefully and beyond. I think the thing that I'm most proud of with the character and the legacy of who Daniel LaRusso is, because I always say this, in 1984, no one was not rooting for Daniel LaRusso. Right. At the end of that movie, there weren't like half the people going, I don't buy it, he shouldn't have won. Everybody was high-fiving and hugging each other, you know. So what I do take pride in the character is his affection and respect for Mr. Miyagi, because the truth is, without Mr. Miyagi in that film, we're not making this show, and without that performance by Pat Morita, we're not making this show. As great as Cobra Kai and LaRusso and then bullying and all that stuff was, you needed that grounding center that was the heart and soul and magic. Right. So the fact that it's so important to him to uphold that legacy. Now he has had these good intentions that have fallen by the way. Everything came crashing down at the end of season 2. So now I look forward to picking up those pieces and those stakes of the LaRusso name as well as the Miyagi name now being smeared based on this riot that happens at the school, whatever his responsibility is. So he's always focused on that relationship and what it meant to him and trying to pass that on in a positive way. I think if we lose that from LaRusso, I think that would be difficult. I don't know how he exists without his love for what Miyagi shaped him to be. Even though Johnny Lawrence pushes that button and he throws it all out the window for a moment, it's just part of LaRusso. So he's a little knee-jerk, a little bit of a temper, and it also makes it fun for them to write. So I guess that, and hopefully he hands that down to his. He's got some big stuff going with Samantha in season 3. Yeah. They're both going to be in very tough spots, and it's going to be interesting to see how they may navigate and help each other. Who knows? I don't know yet. I'm hoping for great stuff there.
Yeah. The show is a very interesting clash of generations. Like even like it's a classic franchise from the '80s on YouTube, which it's a very millennial thing. It's kind of a newer generation, and you can see that on the show. And we just witnessed it with the ship thing here.
Right.
Have you had
What's a
moments-
Facebook?
Have you had moments like that on set that you actually have to teach them stuff, or even the writers like, hey, yeah, that's not a thing,
or backwards, like you know that nothing was digital, there was film. And
Right.
before,
We
had this
had to
here.
change the magazine and add more
We didn't
footage.
CG things. If we messed up, we messed up. Yeah. So.
Let's put it this way. I did like an Instagram story thing this morning. It took like 8 minutes. They'd be done in like 2
I was gonna
seconds.
say, his
they
daughter-
were all dying. Like I don't know who was looking, but they were all like, "Let me take the phone. This is painful to
Yeah,
watch."
I mean,
well, how do I
yesterday,
do?
yesterday we experienced it in the morning because I even got video of it because I was like, what? You know, so Ralph runs over to Billy and they're talking about Instagram, and Ralph's trying to explain to Billy, well, this is a story, and
it disappears.
and then you literally say, but it doesn't stay there. It goes away. So it doesn't stay. But they're trying to explain, and Billy's like, I don't know how to do that. I can't figure that one out. It
I
was,
said, and this is my other dilemma. I'm like, what constitutes a story versus a post? Like, is this good enough to be a post, or is it not good enough to be a story? Like, maybe what makes this picture be worth something that's going to go away in 24
More than
hours?
24 hours.
Or do I want this to be something that's forever looked at? Like, he put that up as a post? Because my kids will say that.
Clearly
oh,
a
you
story."
posted that? That's a story. I'm like, oh, man. So there you go.
You know, one thing I do want to add is because we talked to, she's here for the boys. There was some talk here or there about Elizabeth Shue. Is there anything out there in the ether about that kind of thing? Because of the fact that, you know, did you run into her here by chance?
Oh yeah, I haven't run into her here.
Yeah.
It's certainly she and her character, Allie with an I, is
With an
out in the
I.
ether for sure. I know the intentions are to figure something out. I have no facts on that.
Yeah.
I don't. I really don't. You know, we'd be foolish not to say that, you know, somewhere in this Cobra Kai journey that we're hoping to have that addressed. Obviously, that was the fight that started it all, you know, and how rich that would be for the fans. So we're all rooting for something to make sense organically in the story and that fan service, and also, you know, the character service. Would be fun.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I'm very excited. I actually got a chance to meet Pat once. I lived in Las Vegas, and I met him there. I had a drink with him one time.
Right.
So, actually, if I could just ask one thing, because I met him, but do you have a story, like, just with him, like, that you just kind of smile about, or just maybe something that he was to you?
Well,
Because that's what the show is all about, because it's the echo of that character, too, and what that spirit was.
Yeah, he knew that he was playing a role that was of great importance to the Japanese American community. He felt a responsibility to that, and every day, any scene we were doing, he would always come from the perspective of honoring. I mean, using the word honor, honoring the history of that culture, and the he would bring stuff to the table about it, and that would be added into the script. But he was a comic. You know, he came up as a comic. Red Fox gave him his first job, opening up for him, and so he would do the scene of the World War II internment camps and all that stuff about losing his wife and child, and cry, and then we'd cut, and then he'd break into fart jokes.
The California Kid would come out.
California Kid would come out.
Yeah.
That's it, and then he would go right back in. He would turn Miyagi on and off. It was literally like a switch. Unbelievable.
All right, well, I want to thank you guys for coming back. I think we got to let them get out here to the next thing. If you guys sign, just kind of show us what you did here.
So
Oh, look at
first
you.
of all,
Impressive.
I made my own Miyagi Do snake.
Yeah.
And I put little googly eyes on him. And then over here, I ended up making the Miyagi-Do back patch.
Yeah, look at that. Okay, and here's the kindergartner who runs out of patience. I started with that, but she, that's the offspring, definitely. The maternal side of the artistic.
Yeah, very simple. I try to add stickers to make it more colorful.
No, but I like the colors.
Yeah.
I love the way
made
I
an
love the way you traced it.
abstract coloring picture.
Yeah.
That's I used
It's
to.
always-
Yeah,
I used
that's the
to be this guy.
kindergartner
It's always
one.
arguing with
I
the
was
title
this
on
guy.
it too. Yeah, it's
Yeah, it's
coloring.
abstract coloring, and then I
It's very
sign my
abstract
name,
to put
but
the title.
it's abstract, so now I'm the artist.
All right.
There
We
we go.
thank you all for your art very much. And thank you
stuff.
for coming down. We look forward to many seasons to come.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.